There is no country that develops, that advances, without taking cognizance of how people rise to political power, how people become governors, how people become senators, how people become president. It's important that people that will hold public offices are, are accountable. They, their historical backgrounds are known to everybody. We had two presidents in Nigeria that nobody could say who is their classmate, who is their teacher, who taught them. How did they get to where they are? Their backgrounds are nebulous, are not lucid. You can't, they are not transparent. So somebody that his background is not transparent, how can you give him the country to manage? It's a big problem. You don't know their background, backgrounds are hazy. Now we have this problem in Nigeria where, to me, we have presidential monarchy system where the Nigerian president holds so much power, so much state power is vested in one man. He controls the Senate, he controls the judiciary, he controls the land, controls the wealth of the nation, everything that characterize the statehood of the country. It is controlled by one individual. And when you have a situation like that, abuse of power becomes inevitable. And that is why we see today Nigerian presidents are not accountable. They are accountable to nobody. They are accountable to nobody because the system that gives them power gives them everything. Now, what is the way out? And we must establish the fact that there's a serious problem in Nigeria. The Nigerian political system is highly flawed because if you look at the historical background of Nigeria, Nigeria as a country is polarized across different stratas, across different divisions. Many things divided the nation. Number one, the country itself is divided into two: the north and the south. The north and the south. And this division is further enhanced by ideological divisions. The division is rooted in ideology, in philosophy, in culture, in traditions, in rituals, in philosophy, in everything, in religion. The country is polarized into two well defined division. Even in physiology, how people look, in culture, in attire, in fashion. The country is divided visibly into two parts. And there is no way, nothing you can do about it. It is divided in such a way that the north, when they even speak, you know that this person is from the north. And when somebody from the south speaks, you will know that this person is from southern Nigeria. From the way we look, the way a northerner looks is different from the way a southerner looks. So these divisions are historical, they are cultural, they are biological, they are philosophical, they are religious. The division is clear. Just like day and night, division is clearly clear. So that is the kind of country that Britain, colonized, and in 1960 handed over freedom and they left. But something happened. There were different conferences, constitutional conferences that took place both in the UK, United Kingdom here, and in Nigeria. So these conferences gave different kinds of constitutions. We have more than 7 or thereabout constitutions that came from these conferences. And eventually, we had the conference that gave us the, the democracy or the independence constitution. The independence constitution, the constitution took account of regional blocks, regional power, because the country was divided into two parts, and then the two parts were further divided into regional block powers. The north encompassing the whole of the what we call the 19 states now, and then the southeast, the southwest. And we have people like Awolowo, we have people like Nnamdi Azikwe, we have people like Tafawa Balewa, Sir Abubakar Bello, something like that. These were regional powers. And when independence came, every region was allowed to develop at its own pace with its own resources. Develop at your own pace with your own resources. So that gave, some of the regions like Awolowo was able to bring television station, create a system whereby education was made free for the people. And the northern region were equally battling with their own, peculiar crisis, peculiar development that is relevant to the people. In agriculture, they made great strides in agriculture. Likewise, in the East, they make great improvement in importation, in a business. Everybody was allowed to grow at their own pace. The northern region, they have what we call the granite pyramid of Kano. In the south, we have the cocoa of the southwest, and in the southeast, we have the palm oil business, and they call it south-south. So people were allowed to grow at their own pace with their own resources, and they were in control of their resources. Then the federal government was not that powerful. What is, some percentages are sent to the federal government, and that is used by the federal government to do some development. And then we have parliament, where we have the head of state, and then we have the head of government. So the power of the state is not vested in only one person, in an individual. No, the power of the state was divided across, the layers of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. They had their own layers of power. Then the military happened to Nigeria. In 1960, 66 or thereabout, the military struck. I think 15th of January or something like that. The military struck. And eventually, the democratic government was rooted out, and the military interregnum started in 1966, which later led to the Civil War of 1967 to 1970, where Ojukwu, who was the governor of the Eastern region, felt his people were marginalized, were dehumanized, and decided to cut off from the state and created what we call the Biafra. And the Nigerian government, led by Yakubu Gowon, refused to accept that contradiction, and they went into war. And eventually they declared no victor, no vanquisher. But we know that the war changed the balance of power, because Nigeria ab initio was built on tripartite, on a tripod. The East, which is the Igbo, the West, the Yorubas, and the North, the Hausa Fulanis. So the country was based, was built on a tripod. And so eventually, one of the tripods, one of the legs was cut off or was damaged. and it was not allowed to reintegrate again properly even after the war. And that has created so many vacuum lacuna in the democracy of Nigeria, so many problems in the democracy of Nigeria. Now, the constitution that gave us democracy in Nigeria was jettisoned, and the military started introducing decrees, meddling with constitution, coup and counter coup, chaotic from 1966 to 1998. Nigeria experienced terrible political turmoil. And this political, pandemonium led to the bastardization of the federalist constitution that was given to Nigeria in 1964 or 1960. Let's say 1960, the Constitution of Independence. That's what I call it. The Constitution of Independence was bastardized from 1966 to 1998. And in 1998, something terrible happened to this country, where General Abubakar, when he handed over power to Olusegun Obasanjo, who was also a general, but arrested and sentenced to prison by the government of Sani Abacha. So the military government handed to Nigeria a very terrible constitution, very horrible constitution, very terrible constitution that has refused for Nigeria to advance till today. That constitution is very terrible. That constitution that the military government handed over to Nigeria is the bane of Nigeria's trouble today. The trouble with Nigeria is not the political class. The trouble with Nigeria is not the leadership. The trouble with Nigeria is not the followership. The trouble with Nigeria is the constitution of Nigeria. Listen to me. The problem of any religious organization is not the adherents, it's not the followers of that ideology or religion. It is the Bible of the religion, is the document that empowers the people. It is the document that empowers the leaders and the followers. The document that empowers Nigerian leaders is a terrible document, terrible piece of document. And until that document is burnt and a new constitution is created for Nigeria, the problem of Nigeria can never go. It cannot be solved. No president can solve the problem of Nigeria until the president has the courage to look at the constitution critically and remove the roadblocks to national cohesion, national development, and progress. Until that is done, the problem of Nigeria, nobody can solve it. From the religious problem, the political problems, economy problem, sharing formula, the problem of equity and justice, the issue of fairness, the issue of corruption, the issue of marginalization. It cannot be solved until that constitution is bungled and jettisoned. Until that constitution is dethroned, nothing can solve the problem of Nigeria. Nothing. No prayer can solve it. No, in fact, no, even the president of America, if you are to give him the constitution of Nigeria to rule by it, he will become a dictator. Because the constitution of Nigeria successfully made the Nigerian president or the Nigerian presidency a monarchy. So we just have a monarchical presidency. We just have a monarchical democracy, monarchical federalism. It is a kind of system where we have, we have other state government and all of this, but they are stripped of power. The governors of state are stripped of power. Because number one, I think it was General Olusegun Obasanjo that did a terrible crime to Nigeria by promulgating a law confiscating the land in Nigeria, making it a federal or making it owned by the state. So the federal government owned Nigeria, technically speaking. Over the years, many leaders made decrees and laws that either stripped the people, stripped the state of power over their own natural resources, investing the whole power in the presidency. And then, the moment you become the president of Nigeria, you are among the most powerful men on earth. Because number one, the constitution protects you from any kind of probing. The constitution so much protects you. And the constitution created so many loopholes that are being exploited today. It is just like, you went to bed to sleep in an environment that is infested with thieves and armed robbers, and you close the door, you close your gate, you close your door, but you left your window open. That is the Nigerian constitution. The Nigerian constitution is a constitution that they always create loopholes for people to exploit against the constitution. If they make electoral laws, they will still create lacunas in the law for people to exploit, to subvert, and to overturn the law. They make policies on tax. They will still deliberately create loopholes, create windows in the laws to be exploited by people. And again, the language they use in writing laws in Nigeria is very nebulous, very fishy, very, very opaque. It's never direct, very opaque, fishy kind of language. They use it deliberately to confuse, and then when they take the matter to court, we complicate the whole thing. Very, very jejune and complicated kind of legal system. The framers of Nigerian law across levels and across decades deliberately complicate the language they use in writing the policies, the laws, to confuse the people. And when you go to court to interpret the law, the court or the judiciary interprets it based on patronage. For instance, the 2023 election, the question of winning Abuja became a problem, became a judicial problem, became a political problem. So the court had to interpret the law. The court had to interpret what it said or what the law said. Whereas that shouldn't be so. If you win election and you do not win Abuja, then A, B, and C, clean and clear. But no, they will write it in a way that somebody can subvert it. And then they can override the laws of the land. So there are things that Nigeria must do if Nigeria must advance. And listen to me, I used to be a post-colonialist. And as a post-colonialist, we tend to look at the problems with Nigeria as a reaction from the interface with the colonialists. And so at the post-colonial phase of Africa, the new colonialists are still interfering with the economy, with Nigeria or with Africa. But then I think we have to go or to move beyond post-colonialist reasoning and begin to hold Nigerian or African legal frameworks accountable. Because let us tell ourselves the truth. When a country creates a legal system, empowers its legal system to work, that legal system can checkmate internal and external excesses, internal and external subversion. That system can override it. Look at country like China. Look at country like Japan. Look at country like Singapore. Look at countries like South Korea. Look at even the Gulf countries, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and other countries in the Gulf country. They were Nigerian age-mates. They were contemporaries of Nigeria along the line of development. But look at what happened to them. Why is it so? They discover that no nation develops without putting strong legal system, strong laws, strong judiciary, strong constitution that has no respect for anybody. Yesterday, Keir Starmer stepped down as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Why was it so? Because there were laws, rules and regulations, systems put in place to checkmate excesses of an individual. You can't use your office to intimidate. When you have a country that politicians are richer than the country itself, the politicians in Nigeria, if you will gather the wealth they have accumulated from 1960 to date, they are richer. The political class is richer than the whole federation. They keep on looting, they keep on plundering, they keep on stealing. And we have no constitution that has the power to deal with them squarely and severely. The Nigerian constitution has never jailed a past president, both from the military days till date. No constitution has the ability to hold any past leader accountable. No president has ever paid for some of the things they did while in office. Some of the atrocities committed while in office, no leader has paid for it. And that is the reason why I said clearly that no society advances without constitution that is unbiased. So long as constitutions of nations are biased, then that nations cannot advance. Nations cannot advance with weak constitutions, with weak systems, with weak laws. You create laws and you deliberately, impute holes in the system that people can exploit. So that's the major problem. So what do we do? How can we go from being lacrimal to being proactive? Number one, the Constitution of Nigeria is not working. From 1999 to 2006, the Constitution is not working. The Constitution has made the presidency very powerful. I think last week or this week, the minister of FCT built houses for is it a federal court of appeal judges, built houses for them, and he who pays the piper dictates the tone. You see, there are 5 institutions in Nigeria that must be liberated from the presidency. Liberated from the presidency. Number 1, the judiciary. Number 2, the legislature. Number 3, security. Number 4, power. That's electricity. They must be liberated from the presidency, from the control of the president And number 5, INEC. They must be liberated from the powers of the presidency. They should be paid from the source. The INEC, for instance, the chairman of INEC should not be appointed by the president. The state chief of INECs, they should not be appointed or under the control of the governors. They should be highly independent. In fact, the position of the chairman of INEC should be subjected to election. Somebody should be elected, and the laws governing the election of that person should just be only 4 or 5. Number 1, the person must have character. The person must be a man of character and substance. Number 2, or this thing, the man should be independent. He should be independent. And number 3, the person must contest election. Number 4, if there is any sign of corruption in the man. Number 5, there should be a register signature. If people, more than 1 million people will sign a register, the man must leave office. If they elect you today, and 1 million Nigeria across the federation, across the state, will sign an online register that we don't want you are corrupt, or not even 1 million. Across the state, let's say if 100,000 people or 10,000 people, if they're able to sign a register, simple law, simple, the man should be removed. And again, our process of voting is too complicated, and that is why they have apportioned trillions of naira for people to run election, for INEC to run election in Nigeria. What are they doing with the money? See, simple. Number 1, let election be electronic in Nigeria. That as you just put your fingerprint at the collation center where it is viewed worldwide, the moment somebody enters the polling booth, and there's no need for all this paper, whatever, you just thumbprint. As you thumbprint, the result electronically update itself on the system, and the system cannot be altered. All this manual, or even if they want to do this paper type, the counting process should be done in such a way that it is electronic. The moment they finish counting, we have a machine in banks today. This machine can dictate fake naira bill. So why can't we create a system like that? That the moment people thumbprint this paper and they put in the ballot boxes, they just pack the ballot box and put in the machine. The machine counts the figure. APC, this, PDP, this, NDC, this, ADC, this, paper, the one that do not count well, this, everything is in the system. The system, the only thing that INEC officers will do is, after election, take the result and put in the machine. That's all. People are there. They will see the result displayed. And again, we should deliberately start building election or voting centers, consciously build. We can decide to, if it is schools that you want to use as voting centers, they should be like all the schools in Nigeria, all the trillions and billions they are giving to INEC. Why not take the money, go to all the centers that you want to be polling centers, go to those places and build, standard, technologically driven, booth where everything is done electronically. You come, if it is either electronic voting direct, as you enter the polling system, you see display of the names of your candidates or political parties are there display on the screen, and it is just left for you to thumbprint, just your thumbprint. The moment you thumbprint, the process as you thumbprint, it will take like every 10 minutes or every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes, the machine uploads itself. So that nobody will know who because at the outside of the polling unit, there are screen there that as you just thumbprint, 10 people thumbprint or 20 people thumbprint, by the time it is 30 minutes, the result upload itself. ADC 10, APC 1, NDC this, PDP this. Then 30 set of people will go and vote again. After 30 minutes, the result is uploaded. So deliberately delay so that people will not know who you voted for. As you go in there, you cast your vote, you come out, the machine updates itself after. So before the election ends, people will see the leading polling unit. And this machine again is connected to the collation center at the state, at the federal level. Built a technologically big office whereby as they are voting from villages, whatever, if they don't have system or data, internet, for the result to upload itself directly to the federal server where the thing is captured or everybody can see, it should be done in such a way that if it is paper voting, as we finish the vote, you put the voters card or the ballot papers inside the machine. The machine will count, and as the machine counts, the result is saved in a black box in the device that cannot be altered. Nobody can alter it. The moment the result is shown, the system shuts itself, and nobody can open it except at the headquarters where some codes are inputted and the result can come out. These are simple means of collating result that within 1 hour, within 20 minutes, the results are out there. Now, when it comes to voting, I really equally suggest that the moment you have your a voter's card as a Nigerian, you should be able to vote anywhere in the country. How do you do it? The moment you go with your voter's card, there should be machines that will authenticate that this person is the genuine owner of this voter's card. If he is the genuine owner of the voter's card, then he should have the right to go and vote anywhere in the country. Anywhere. In fact, disenfranchisement is not only to this and that. There are many Nigerians that are denied the opportunity to exercise their civic right by the way these elections are conducted. That you must have a polling unit, you must have a this, you have to go there and check your name. Who has that time? Who has that time? And again, on the election date, the police will mount the road and stop people from moving. Why? In the UK here, election day is like every normal day. You can decide to make the voting time to be 1 week. It can be 1 week. It can be 1 week. From Monday to Sunday, people should go and vote. People should go and vote from Monday to Sunday. And one of the reasons why the day of election is like a war, is because we are doing election only one day. In a transparent system, you can do election 2 days, 3 days, voting for one man. So that anybody that is busy, and you go to any nearest polling unit around you and go and vote. So long as you have the voter's card. If I live in London on the day of election, I must not travel back to London to go and start voting. That should be the right thing to do. I live in Lagos, and my polling unit is in Abuja. So you expect me to travel from Lagos to Abuja to come and vote? No. The moment somebody has a voter's card, that should give him the authority to vote. That should give him the license to vote. He should have the ability to vote. So to make it easy, we can say, okay, the voting time is 3 weeks. It's 3 days. And just go to the nearest polling unit around you, thumbprint and go. As you thumbprint, the machine captures the detail. You can even create a system that if there is a collation center where they have to come and be counting paper 111 or to be collating the result, there should be an electronic system that from the polling unit, the result goes straight to Abuja, where there's a big board, electronic board that captures all the results. Federal House of Assembly, Federal House of Representatives, this person, the result goes there direct. No need for anybody to collect anything. There's a system that collates everything. Why can't we think of these things to build? They give INEC trillions of naira, and they will still be doing the same thing. Why? Because they are protecting the interests of their payer. Because he who pays the piper always dictates the tone. So we must, and I equally observe that the most unnationalistic country on earth is Nigeria. There is nothing like nationalism. Nothing like nationalism. When citizens want to protest bad governance, bad policies, the state will clamp down on them. Look at what is happening in South Africa. Some persons were not happy. And genuinely speaking, I am in support. Apart from being violent and killing people unnecessarily, I am always in support of people when they speak against illegal migrants, illegal immigration, and then crimes by immigrants. You see, you can't leave your country that is lawless. You can't leave your country that has been bastardized by all of you in the country and come to another man's country where there is rule of law, where there is order, where there is stability, and you still bring the madness of your home country to another country. It should not be accepted. Under any circumstances, it should never be encouraged and it should never be accepted. You can't just come to another man's country as a migrant and say, no, your religion must dominate the state. The country must dance to the tone of your religion. They must practice the laws of your religion. You cannot come to another man's land, another man's country, leaving your own country that has been bastardized, and want to impose your own will, want to impose your own philosophy, your ideology on others. If you are looking for where to impose your own will, your ideology and philosophy, go back to your country and do that. But you can't come to another man's country The way they stabilize their own system. And you just come and begin to do things anyhow. Because you bring the spirit of anyhow, doing things anyhow for your country. You come to another man's country, you begin to do things anyhow. And you think they should not speak against migrants, they should not speak against immigration. They will surely speak against it. And so but if you go to another man's land and you obey the laws of the land and you live your life according to the laws that govern people living in that country, nobody will say live just like that. That is how it is. So to end this video, I want to suggest that there are things that should be genuinely independent. Like the INEC, as I've said, the way people become INEC chairman determine how they will be transparent, they will be fair, they will conduct election. And equally, the judiciary has to be liberated from the control, from the chokehold of the executive in Nigeria. You will never see any judge that will give a verdict or a judgment that is against the ruling party or the government. There are many laws or many whatever that Donald Trump wrote, and the judges stood against him. And he had no option but to respect the judgment of the judges. So these are the things that if the judiciary of a country is not empowered, there is no way that that country will advance. There is no way that that country will succeed when the judiciary of the country are in bondage. When the judiciary of Nigeria is in bondage, very deep bondage, and until the judiciary is liberated, the judiciary is genuinely liberated, and the judiciary are nationalistic, the judges are nationalistic in nature. There are many laws that they are passing today that will never stop. They will keep on passing those judgments because they have to favor their paymasters. If they don't pass some judgment, they will work against them. They will not advance in their career. So they have no option than to dance according to the drum beat of their paymasters. And until countries, the judiciary of nations are delivered, especially third world countries, until their judiciaries are liberated, the countries will not experience genuine post-colonialism. Because the colonialists are not even the executive. The most terrible set of people that we ever have on earth or in a country are the judges who are in bondage. The judges, if the judges of a country are in bondage, the country is in bondage. Because the colonialists were lawmakers. They made laws that favored them. And the people that occupy the office of the colonialist are genuinely the judiciary. Today, the greatness and the destruction of Nigeria is in the chambers, is in the hands of the judiciary. Because there are laws the executive will make, empowered by the legislature. If the judiciary stands its leg on ground and say no. But do you know why? Because as the judiciary, they only back and they have never beaten any of the former president, former this and that. That is why they are not respected in Nigeria. And until we have the moral right or the moral, vision to give our judiciary, the legal system, power to execute or to pass laws, we may still remain where we are. And then finally, the security structure. Some say if we have state police, the state governors will use them to whatever their opponent. Don't we have the police in the hand of the federal government? Are they not using it to intimidate people? You cannot give governors power without giving them security power. The power to ensure that their states are secured. You've taken that power from them. There was kidnapping in Oyo State, and the governor is tight. His hands are tight. He can't do anything. He can't do anything. Now, imagine that the police is under the control of the governor. We are not going to blame the president for kidnapping in Borno State. We are not going to blame the president for kidnapping in Sokoto State. We are not going to blame the president for kidnapping in Katsina State. We hold the governors accountable because now the police is under their custody, it is under their power. So it is now left for them to empower the police and ensure local policing structures are put in place. To ensure that they have local policing network put in place. And if there is a failure of security, then it is the failure of the state government. You can give the state government everything, the economic power. But if you have taken away the security power from them, the security power from them, you have the constitution has taken from them, then you have taken away everything. Okay, put 1 million naira on the street without, and then keep 1 million naira on the street, and then take a civilian and keep him to monitor the money. Then keep, is that, in fact, keep 5,000 naira on the street and keep a soldier to guide it, a policeman armed to guard it, and then keep 2,000 on the street and keep a civilian to guide it. You will see what will happen. They will come and beat the civilian and take away the money. But who will come near the armed police officer? I'm just giving you an example of what it means to give the state government money and you fail to give them police. The power to police their state, you took it away from them. The Constitution of Nigeria took it away from them. The Constitution of Nigeria gave the president, the police, soldiers, DSS, all the state apparatuses of oppression and repression are given to only one man. Have you not seen that in some states in America, the California police, the New York Police Department, sometimes they resist the invasion of the federal police? They resist. When the federal police want to just enter and do things anyhow, there's a resistance put forth by the state police. These are the things that are lacking. And we are copying the American political system. Why not copy it right? If we must copy the American political system, why not copy it hook, line, and sinker? These are some of the problems with Nigeria. And until we strip our presidents of some political powers, strip them of the powers they have, the country cannot move forward. And again, you see, 8 years is almost 2/3 of a decade. 2.5 to 2/3 of a decade. So how can you commit a decade in the hand of a rogue? Just imagine we spent 8 years under Buhari, 8 years of our lives, and when the man finished scattering the country, he died. After he messed up the country, he died. And look at it, the death of the man, people were jubilating. His own people, Muslims, Hausas, Northerners were dancing and jubilating. How much more of we that are not Northerners, are not Hausas? Because when the bereaved is mocking the memory of when the family of the bereaved is mocking the memory of the bereaved, are you the outsider that will say the bereaved live a sanctified life? So how can we as a nation commit 8 years of our lives to rogues? To rogues. I think the law should mandate that after 5 years, one tenure 5 years for minister, everything, lawmakers, everything, 5 years. After 5 years, go home, go back to your work you were doing. Let another set come and continue. 5 years. 5 years. We don't want anything that you have to be a lawmaker to. No. We are human beings. And human beings have ability to adapt, to learn. If you went to school, you can be given what is there to make law. But you see, they have deliberately complicated so many things so that they can stay long and say, yes, we have to be here because section this, subsection this, if they will sit in the plenary in this and that in recession, they created so many confusion to confuse those that are not part of the system. After 5 years, go home. They can say, okay, for the sake of senators, you can do 10 years. Yeah, for senators, that's okay. 2 terms as a senator, if your people like you. But as a president, in fact, even senators, 5 years is more than enough. Are you not coming to serve your country? So why should you turn the House of Senate into retirement ground for all governors? Why should it be so? If something is not juicy there, why shouldn't they go back to the former work they are doing? And when a governor serves a state for 8 years or for 5 years, go home, no pension, nothing. And all this pension that they are paying former governor, they should scrap all this nonsense. Scrap it. We are doing something before. There's this man called Rishi Sunak, the former prime minister of UK, of United Kingdom. After his tenure, I read one day that he was in America lecturing. Go and Peter Obi, after his 8 years, he left office without taking anything. He's not succeeding today. Go back to your business. And the amount they are paying these political people is too much. Politicians should also be placed on minimum wage. Minimum wage. They should be placed on minimum wage. His minimum wage is 70,000. And you should be. Why not look at United Kingdom? Look at America. Nigerian politicians are earning more than many of them in the Western countries. Why should it be so? Because it is very juicy. So the problem with Nigeria is multifaceted, but there always comes a point in a nation's life where hard decisions must be made. Because if these hard decisions are not made, the country will remain at a state of confusion. And when the country remains in the conundrums, what will happen? The country will not achieve its potentials. Nigeria has the potential to be the biggest economy, biggest military, biggest everything in Africa. In fact, Nigeria as it is supposed to be to be like the Mecca of Africa. not South Africa, where people are rushing to go and do work. It should be Nigeria. But our political leaders are not getting it right. And because the constitution has given them the power to rule us, to, to, to misrule the people, it's the constitution. There was a time that to leave Nigeria was like, why should I leave Nigeria? But another time came that leaving Nigeria is the only way of preserving your sanity. Since I came to UK here, there has never been one day that there's no light. Never one day that there's no water. Never one day that there was no gas. You pay, at the end of the month, you pay your bills. Everything is connected to you. So I look forward to seeing Nigeria work. If Nigeria works, all of us will come back home. The reason why everybody is leaving is that it is not working. And the president cannot just say, don't leave Nigeria, don't japa. People must leave because the country is not working. What is the essence of building roads that people will be kidnapped while traveling on those roads? What is the essence of building roads when people will be kidnapped on those same roads? The most important thing a government will do to its people is to create an avenue of security. When people are secured, they can do their business. And when they do their businesses, there are other things that the government should put in place: electricity, connect water. And don't tell us that you are giving governors money. No. Are they not all members of APC? If you, the president, can tell them to come and join your party, it therefore means that you can also tell them to work. If not, your party will remove them. But you call them so that they are going to work for 2027. And where we have not even conquered 2026.